settled before we do the invocation pledge? Sorry, Mayor, I didn't.
Oh, no, I apologize.
No, you're fine. So with that, we'll call the meeting to order, and if you'll all please stand for a brief invocation and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Lord, we come before you once again with grateful and humbled hearts for the opportunities to represent our constituents in the great city of Troy. Please be with those family members of the first responders who lost their lives 17 years ago on this date in New York and Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C. and around our country. Please be with their families as they continue to deal with this process. Please be with the families of the first responders and the people who worked in those places that did survive. Be with them. Please be with our first responders and protect them as they protect our city every day. Please be with us and lead us and guide us in everything we say and do, and make it be pleasing unto your sight. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
If you'll face the flag, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. And I know September 11th is on everybody's mind and everybody's heart, and I hope everybody has taken time to reflect on this and what this day means to our country. If the clerk will please note that all of our members are present, and for committee reports, we did meet upstairs for executive committee meeting at 4 o'clock to discuss agenda items, and all of our members were present there as well. We do have a committee report from Ms. Baker, who is chair of the Education, Recreation, and Library Committee.
Thank you. I do. It doesn't quite feel like summer's over yet, but kids are back in school, and I did have a quick report from both our library and the rec center. The library offered 16 different programs this summer to over 300 children ages 4 to 18, and collectively the kids read 16,267 books this summer, which I think is pretty amazing. So I know that we are constantly looking for opportunities for our families, particularly kids, to do. So I'd remind people to take advantage of the resource in our library. And then the rec center held a summer day camp. They averaged 85 to 110 kids per week. And those are just simply the kids that were registered in the day camp, not counting the hundreds of kids, really kids of all ages, that are in and out of those doors participating in a variety of activities. So thank you, Dan, for all the rec center does for our community. That's my report.
Thank you, and I'll echo, thank you, Dan, thank you, William, for the programs y'all provide our community, and y'all do a great job, and we're grateful. All right, Council, you have the minutes of the previous meeting in front of you. If there are no additions or corrections to those minutes, a motion to approve is in order. So moved. By Mr. Meeks, seconded by Mr. Jones. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. The first item of business is Housing and Community Concerns from Ms. Margie Barrow and Ms. Cheryl Shipman. I do not see them in the council chambers. Ms. Barrow, are you going to address the council this evening? Well, if you will please come forward and state your name and start addressing your concerns, that would be appreciated, please.
First, I'd like to say good afternoon to everybody, and thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to come and speak before you tonight. I see it says housing and community concerns. Well, we always have some housing issues that are concern to the concern for the public, for the Troy City Council, for the Troy Police Department, Troy Housing Authority. We always have some concerns about those, and right now we have a drug crack neighborhood that we can't get any rest for. We call the police department, we call the housing authority. Nobody wants to be bothered. So according to the terms of our dwelling lease, we are, have the right to live in a good, peaceful, and safe living environment. So I'm concerned about that. Also, I know it was, I want to comment on Miss Mutris' comments about some things that you should bring before the board, and if we have a board to address issues. If we had a board to address the issues, then I wouldn't be here. If we had a board or some boards to address the issues, I wouldn't have been here. Even with the Organized Community Action Program, you know, I have a lot of issues with those. People giving jobs, taking jobs from me and giving them to kin folks, you know, and everything else. So, you know, that hasn't been successful. So this is why we come to our city council, because it's not just one person's problem, it's everybody's problem. As Dr. King said, injustices anywhere is injustices everywhere. Now, let's get to the Boys and Girls Club. You have some students right now, a Charles Henderson Middle School cheerleader, 2 football players for the rec right now, but they plan on being for the school system also when they get old enough. They are 13 years old, 10 years old, and 5 years old. They have been treated so bad that they don't want to go anymore. They don't like it anymore. They want to know why they have to be dropped off in the road and everybody else is driven up to the door. And everything that happened at the Boys and Girls Club, they were present with me. So nothing happened other than somebody trying to slander my name, good name, character, and my reputation. And these are some young people that should be at home, almost young enough to be Boys and Girls Club members themselves. The responsibility they have, nobody should put it on them because it's not safe for the children. It's not safe for the children. We also asked for Troy University to get involved, Mayor Reeves to get involved, Troy City Council to get involved. I brought this before Mayor Reeves, I believe 2 years ago. He didn't respond to me on the issue, busing all the students in Troy City School, providing school buses for them, to and from school, from the Boys and Girls Club also. We need transportation. We're not living in the 1800s anymore. We want to get on the time, so let's make our children one. Let's make Troy one. And I also will send a letter to Dr. Hawkins. I'm very serious about this. I want to make Troy one. I want to make this Troy City School students one. Let's show some love for them. Let's get involved with that Boys and Girls Club because, you know, my sister was hurt up there. She was hurt up there. And this is why all this came about. They decided they're going to bar and ban me from the place, which is illegally done, and you have to go by a statute to do it. So, and then when you file false reports, there is a law for that too. So, you know, the Boys and Girls Club, but these little students, you're giving these little students nightmares, emotional harm at night. I know what it's like being a teacher, being mistreated in the school system for over 30 years, jobs taken away from me, given to other people just because of who I am, or just because I speak up, you know. So I'm still speaking up. I might die in the process. A lot of things have happened to me, my mother, and my family right now. And this impeding traffic, I had the policeman to tell me when I went to do a report and that I could not sign a warrant. If they look at the statute themselves, impeding traffic, blocking traffic, obstructing my travel, endangering the lives of those children in the car with me, that is against the law, and those are issues for warrants to be signed. And I'm still looking to get those warrants signed. Now, I know we have certain people, it shouldn't be, we have certain people doing anything that they can do anything they want to and nothing happens to them. They can sell drugs. Nothing happens. But it's, like I said, let's move forward. Let's get out of this 1800 era that we're in and move into this 21st century. I'm very serious. I gave my life to working. I had to pay for my education. Nobody gave me a job. I had to pay money, I borrowed money to pay for my education. Now, we need some certified people up there at that Boys and Girls Club. We need some professional people. Those children shouldn't be working with children. And I would be so glad when I can get this to you in writing and give it to you and you can see. But my sister, those Boys and Girls Club live in danger every day up there. Now, walking across that railroad track, I'm surprised somebody hadn't noticed it but me. But I'm out there and I'm seeing. Walking across that railroad track in what is now the 21st century is a no-no for these kids. These are mostly black kids. And they have feelings too. Now these three little toddlers, I put that I address the issues to Mayor Reeves and anyone else. I mean, you know, don't let them come up like I did. Don't do the things to them that you did to me. But right now and my family, but right now you're making them feel bad. They have to be dropped off in the road when it's raining. Nobody has done anything to anybody other than somebody say, I can do anything I want to do and nothing happens. I can lie on somebody if I want to, that's all right. You know, and it's not all right for you to lie. It's not all right for you to commit crimes and don't pay for it. And my mother's 89 years old, and I don't have to tell you all what she has gone through in this city, being a lawful, good, lawful, abiding citizen. I don't have to tell you what we have gone through because we are living through it now. We will never get over it. We've been thrown out of the streets by a city that don't care. And did I come to the city council? Yes, I came to the city council. But it's now time for us to stop being the sitting council and be stop being the sitting council and be the city council. Because my boys and girls at that Boys and Girls Club, they are smart children. And they are dissatisfied. They are dissatisfied. They are dissatisfied. What has happened because it is wrong, it is wrong, it is wrong, it is wrong. So, and like I said, I brought the handicap issues for my mother, I think a year ago or whatever, before this council. Nothing has happened. She's 89 years old. She's had major surgery then. She is still sick. She can't hardly walk now. I'm trying to climb those steps. And she's been denied handicap accessibility, not only even in the past 3 or 4 or 5 years, or even going back to the 90s. So, but right now, we're talking about right now, they make apartments accessible for the handicap after we asked for those apartments. Her apartment to be accessible for the handicap. We tried to get an apartment with no steps. And, the steps are still there. But they can make accessibility for dogs and cats. You go to Walmart, you go to any place, go to the bus station. They done made accessibilities for the dogs and the cats. Isn't my mother as good as a dog and a cat? Police department, the city of Troy, hiding these crimes, hiding these shootings. We just can't live through it no more. We're still suffering from Mr. Bobby Tremaine Barrett's death and Mr. Ulysses Wilson's death. They shot down in cold blood. They give him, the guy that shot him and killed him, they give him a standing ovation and a welcome invitation. Come on and let's do it again. So this city has got to be for more than just 1, 2, or 3 people. It's got to be for everybody because I am a born native here, but I am so glad for my Native American heritage. You just don't see black and white in me, but you see Indian, what my culture is. And I am going to speak out and I'm going to speak up. And those Boys and Girls Club students, and you're giving jobs away to folks that ain't supposed to have them. Jobs, you can go to prison, kill somebody, and come back and they save the job for you, then you keep on working with the state. Resumes, you can fix the resumes. Have they ever done this or that? You're going to find no on those resumes. You're going to find no. So, giving jobs to who you want, giving the law to who you want. The law was made to fit everybody. But it's a shame and a disgrace that we're living now in the 21st century, and we're still facing these kind of problems in this city. This is Troy, Alabama. Let's make it one. Let's make love great again. Troy, you said we want to make Troy University one. Let's make those Boys and Girls Clubs children won. The Troy City school students won. I'm not talking about just one. I'm talking about not just black and just white. I'm talking about everybody. Because everybody's important. But now, you know, I mean, what goes on in this city ain't very pretty. But it's still, this is my city. I was born here. I was born here. I was born here. I'm not very proud of the things that goes on with the police department and the sheriff's department, you know. But now we come to let our city know, you know, the handicap issues is no fun. Got an 89-year-old lady will be 90, and somebody just playing around with her and making everybody else's apartment accessible for the handicap. She paying almost $600 a month to live in a place, giving high excessive electric bills when other people get them made for 50 cents and for no cents at all. Now, I don't mind being the mayor of this city. If it takes to let's wake somebody up. I don't mind being the mayor. I don't mind helping the mayor. But this and all this, I'm sure the children would love to address you because they talks about it every day. I'm sure, and the parents has been to see about it, and they have to work, and we are helping them out, and it just shouldn't be. And we, like I say, we are still gonna get that to you in writing about we want these boys and girls. We want them bused. If we can bust Troy University students, I taught school in the city of Troy in the 80s. We had an Alabama Baptist Children's Home. We bust those children. Those children didn't walk. So these children are just as good, they are just as great as those Alabama Baptist Children's Home students were. And I taught students who went to the Alabama Baptist Children's Home. So, I mean, you know, let's don't treat these children like they're dirt. You know, let's don't treat them like they're dirt. And the newspaper, we can't, it's a shame, even the newspaper, you can't get a story printed in the newspaper. They tell you, got to go by the police department first. And then I think Mr. Jacob Holmes, when I did, was with Fat Daddy, he put my name Carolyn in there and hasn't corrected my name Carolyn yet. My name is Margie Florence Barrow with the M-I-S-S. And I have papers, clippings where I say that sometimes things are not true that's printed in the newspaper. And I will save that for you all the next time so you all can see it.
Okay,
Well,
thank you, Ms.
okay.
Barrow. We appreciate that, and thank you for bringing your concerns, and we look forward to whatever you bring to us in writing.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a suggestion, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Starling, as the city clerk, would you, I know that you've received some communication from Ms. Barrow in the past, would you be willing to provide her with contact information for the associations or the groups that she's mentioned today, the Housing Authority, Boys and Girls Clubs? Because I know that they do have boards and that there are people in leadership positions that are equipped to handle these concerns.
Well, if that was successful, I would be there. But I have tried those routes with Boys and Girls Club. It was unsuccessful. With the housing authority, the housing authority director commented on breaking the house of my mama when she got the written communication for us to appeal to them. So this is our city, so it involves the city, so I would like for everybody. No, let them have her do it.
All right, thank you. The next item on our agenda is Resolution 2018-82, which is a bid award for wastewater treatment plant process equipment. Mr. Chandler, if you'll come provide us with a brief explanation of the resolution. I know this is something that we had rejected in the past, but had to be rebid, so thank you.
Yes, sir. We had problems with the previous bid. We rejected those several weeks ago. We sent the bids back out, got some good bids and good prices back in. So this is a rebid of an existing project for some equipment that will be put at the wastewater treatment plant. All this is going to be paid from existing bond funds, and we recommend that we award it to the low bidder for each of the items that were on the bid.
And I think the total is $54,119.
Yes, sir.
Total. Mayor, I'm sure this comes with your approval.
It does.
Are there any questions or comments for Mr. Chandler regarding the resolution? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So,
By Ms. Moultrie, seconded by Mr. Jones. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the resolution is unanimously approved. Thank you. The next item is Resolution 2018-83, which is a bid award for utility vehicles. And I know we've already addressed this particular bid, but Mr. Chandler, will you explain why we're addressing it again?
Yes, sir. Several weeks ago, you awarded bids to the low bidders for several different utility vehicles. Some of the bids, the low bidder was Bill Jackson Chevrolet. Later, after the bids were awarded, they notified Mr. Starling that due to some issues with Chevrolet and GM that they were going to be unable to provide the vehicles due to the production year, model change, and assembly line, and would not be able to provide them at the cost that they had put in their bid. Based on that, Mr. Calhoun recommends that you award the bid for those 5 vehicles to the next lowest bidder, which would be Pike County Ford.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Chandler regarding this resolution on the bids for utility vehicles? Mayor, I'm sure this comes with your approval as well.
It does, and I know Mr. Jackson tried very hard to work with the GM folks to get it worked out, but it was beyond his control.
Yeah, this is a GM issue, not
Not a local
Bill or Jim Jackson issue, so we appreciate them bidding on these projects when we have them. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? By Mr. Jones, seconded by Ms. Baker. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the resolution is unanimously approved. Thank you, Council. The next item on our agenda is Ordinance 394, which is the abandonment and dedication of a water line and utility easement. This is a water line that is no longer in service after we've changed the water lines in that area. Mr. Chandler, will you give us a lot more detail than what I just did?
As part of one of our water line upgrade projects over the past couple of years, we put in a new, larger water line down Trojan Way. We also built back this way down Fairview, back to Fairview, US 29, 39 intersection. As part of that, we had an existing line that had been in place for a long time. There, kind of adjacent to Trojan Way, across from the gravel street, going across that field. We essentially just kind of cut the corner across that field, line up going back to Trojan Way and going on north towards 231 to serve the airport and kind of cut that way. So as part of that, we moved the line back to the road where we could work on it and get to it, put in a larger line so that the existing line that had been out there in that field was disconnected and abandoned and was no longer in use. So that's what this would do. We abandoned that old water line that's no longer needed to be used along with our east line.
And we would ask that you take immediate consideration on this tonight, as we have gotten final written notice to proceed from Connecticut Energy Distilleries, and so this easement is on that property, and so as we move forward with the closing, that will clean up the deed, and we ask you to go ahead and if you council please move for immediate consideration on this vacation.
All right, you've heard from the mayor, that would constitute a first reading, but also from the mayor and our legal counsel, they want us to suspend the rules and go ahead and adopt this ordinance. So with that,
Make a motion that we suspend the rules for immediate action
Right.
for the economic development project.
by Ms. Baker, seconded by Mr. Meeks. I think we have to have a roll call vote on this. Mr. Jones? Mr. Meeks? Ms. Baker?
Aye.
Ms. Moultrie? Myself, aye. So we do have a unanimous consent to suspend the rules and pass the ordinance. And with that, is there a motion to pass the ordinance? By Mr. Jones, seconded by? Second. Mr. Meeks? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the ordinance is unanimously approved. Thank you. Thank you, council, and thank you, Mr. Chandler. All right. The mayor, we do not have any appointments this evening, and we welcome your report and comments.
I would just briefly, I'd just like to, as you mentioned in your prayer, September 11th was a very important day for this country. It really changed so much about the way we live. And, it exposed many heroes that continue to do so much for us today. And it's, I know as I reflected back today, I thought so much about those, you know, that day and the days immediately following, and the really the unity in our country. And you know, sometimes it's disappointing now that you know, I long not for the tragedy of that day, but I do long for us to be together. We have so much. This is a wonderful country, full of wonderful people, and I appreciate so much what the folks you know, did. I mean, and there were a lot of people that were trained for that kind of thing, whether they were military or first responders. And then you had those people on that plane, Flight 93, that were just folks like us. And, you know, it just speaks so much to the American spirit. And I'm very grateful for all the things that are done for us on a daily basis. And I'm very appreciative of it. And it's, you know, it's a day of reflection. This is the first, I mentioned to Dickie upstairs, this is the first council meeting that September the 11th has fallen on our meeting day since I've been mayor. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say a few words about it. And so anyway, thank you for indulging me in that. And unless you have questions, that's all I have.
Any questions for the mayor and the council? Hearing none, council member comments, Mr. Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to say we thank God for things as well as it is in America. And we thank you all for coming out to the council meeting. We welcome everyone.
Yes, I'd like to say thank you for all the first responders we have in the city of Troy. And contrary to what some people think, we have an outstanding police department. And we have an outstanding fire department, rec department, utility department, sanitation department, environmental service department. Everything we have here in Troy, we are very good at, and I do appreciate everything they do. Also, please remember the families of all the folks that were involved in the 9/11 in 2001, 17 years ago. They still need our prayers and our thoughts.
Thank you. Ms. Baker?
I'll echo the sentiments about September 11th. Many people, when they think back 17 years ago, they remember those first moments of fear and panic and just the fear of the unknown. But we did also see the bravery and the courage and the sacrifice of our first responders and those emergency teams, the disaster relief teams. And I think it's a good reminder of the value that they add to communities all across our country, and particularly to ours. So thank you to those every day that train for worst case scenarios like we saw 17 years ago, and hope and pray that we never see those, but when we need them, that they are absolutely there and they're prepared. And it makes me think of the communities along the East Coast as they are bracing themselves for Hurricane Florence, and where many people are evacuating. We are seeing, again, disaster relief and first responders prepare themselves and get ready. So my thoughts and prayers are with those communities as they face the storm.
And Ms. Baker, on that note, we will be. We've got a crew that's preparing to go up there and help. Once the storm moves through. I think Brian's working on that. I think you got to get them the information by the weekend. And so that's something that we always try to do, especially if we're fortunate enough to not to be in the line of the storm. And so we will have some of our very capable folks going up there to help. And we, so.
Wonderful. We're very thankful to have the resources to be able to help others. That's all I have.
Moultrie?
My comments is just to echo about the first responders, locally, statewide, countywide, nationwide, and also to ensure people that our citizens right here in the city of Troy, that we care about all of our people here in the city of Troy, especially our elderly and our children, and that anything that we can do to be of service or to ensure that nothing happens to our citizens here in Troy, that people, all they need to do is just let us know. But we're about being about helping everyone here in the city. And not just certain people, but everybody here in the city, because that's what, we represent everybody in the city. And so if anything that somebody wants to come to this council and talk to us about, there's an ordinance that says as long as you got the information in to us by the city clerk by noon on Thursday, that before the Tuesday of the council meeting, that we will put it on the agenda and we'll be more than welcome to listen to anything that people here in this city have to say. And so I want people to know that this city is always open, this council is always open to listen to anyone that has a concern in this town. So don't ever think that we're not concerned about you. But there's always a process, and that process is that. That is an ordinance, and we abide by that ordinance. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, and I'll close with, probably didn't do it adequate in my invocation to start with, but very thankful for our first responders, those who were there 17 years ago, those who were there before them, those that have been there since 9/11 of 2001. But probably the two most common words and the two least used words in the English language are thank you. And we can never say it or use it enough to our first responders, to our city employees, and those people who run the day-to-day operations of our community. And Mayor, thank you for putting good quality people in place. And thank you to my colleagues for what you do to ensure the resources, especially to our first responders, that take care of our city every day, no matter what. Brian, thank you for putting together a group to go assist. And I know we've had to have assistance before, and we probably will again in the future. So it's always good to help out our neighbors. And with that, a motion to adjourn is always in order.
So moved.
Thank you. We are dismissed. One.